I realized this morning that I've been apologizing to my own thoughts. Not out loud, not in a dramatic way, just quietly, like I'm trying not to offend something that lives inside me. This is Hollow Thoughts, and I need to tell you what's been happening before I convince myself it isn't. It started small. That's the problem. Small things feel like you can ignore them. I'd be making coffee, half awake, and a thought would slide in like normal. You're already behind. And I'd think back automatically, like everyone does. I know. Except, it didn't feel like thinking back. It felt like replying. Like the first thought had weight, like it was waiting for me to respond. I laughed the first time I noticed it. I even said in my head, relax. And then another thought came immediately. Don't tell me to relax. I stopped moving, hands still on the mug, heart doing that tiny stutter it does when you almost trip. I told myself it was just my own brain. Brains argue. Brains spiral. Brains do weird things when you don't sleep. But the tone was wrong. My thoughts have always sounded like me. Even when they're cruel, they sound like my cruelty. This one sounded separate, close, familiar in the way a stranger can be familiar when they know your name. That day, I kept testing it. I'd think a sentence, and then I'd wait. Just wait. Sometimes nothing happened, and I'd feel stupid, like I'd made it all up. Then later, in the grocery store, I reached for a jar of pasta sauce, and a thought said, "Everyone can see your hand shaking." I froze again, because I wasn't shaking, not until that moment. And then I did. I went home and tried to recreate it on purpose, sitting in silence, no music, no phone, just me and the soft hum of the fridge. I thought, hello? Nothing. I thought, are you there? Still nothing. I exhaled relieved and felt the embarrassment bloom. Then, as I stood up, as if it had been waiting for me to stop trying, you're only brave when you think you're alone. I sat back down, slowly. My first instinct was to tell someone. That's what you do when something feels wrong. You get a second mind involved. But then the next thought arrived, like it was already anticipating that instinct. Don't. It wasn't a suggestion. It was the same tone you use with a child about to touch a hot stove. I said inside my head, why? And I got this pause, this deliberate silence, like it was choosing its words. Because you won't like what they say, and you'll blame me. That's when the guilt started. Not because the thought was mean, but because it felt accurate. I do that. I hear something I don't want to hear, and I find a place to put the anger. I stared at my hands in my lap and tried to remember the last time I'd felt truly alone. I live by myself. I work from home. I can go days without talking to anyone face to face. So why did I suddenly feel watched? I started leaving the TV on, not even for the noise, for the sense of another presence that wasn't that. But the thought didn't go away. It got better at timing. If I distracted myself, it would go quiet. Then it would show up in the cracks. In the shower, you never wash behind your ears. In bed when I turned off the light, you're going to dream about it again. At first, I thought it meant the voice. Then I realized it meant something else, a memory. A memory I've kept folded up and buried, not because it's violent, not because it's cinematic, because it's shameful, because it's small. Years ago, I was in a relationship with someone who trusted me, and I broke that trust in a way that wasn't a headline, wasn't a crime, wasn't something you go to jail for, just a choice. A moment where I protected myself instead of them. A moment where I let them take the blame for something I did. It worked. I got away with it, and life moved on. Except it didn't really. It just moved around it. The thought started bringing it up the way a tongue returns to a sore tooth. You remember how they looked at you. I would tense up immediately. Stop. It would answer. Why? It happened. I started losing track of what thoughts I started and what thoughts were answers. That's the part that makes you feel like you're sliding, because you can't fight what you can't identify. I tried to set rules. I told myself, if it's my thought, it will feel like mine. If it's not, it will feel intrusive. So I tested that. I thought, my name is, and I paused. Nothing. I thought, my name is, still nothing. I felt a weird surge of control, like I'd proven something. Then the thought came, so soft, it was almost tender. You don't have to say your name to me. My stomach dropped. Not because it knew my name, of course it did, it's in my head, but because it used me, like it was a person. I stood up and walked through my apartment, touching things, the counter, the door frame, the cold glass of a window. I kept telling myself, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And for a second it felt like it worked. Then, from somewhere behind that repetition, if you keep saying it, maybe it'll become true. That night, I slept with my phone in my hand, like a charm, like a weapon. I opened my notes app and started writing down every time it spoke. I thought that if I could capture it, I could prove it was just me, or prove it wasn't. But something strange happened. When I went back to read what I wrote, some entries weren't there. Not deleted, not edited, just missing. I stared at the empty spaces and felt my face go hot. I checked the recently deleted folder, nothing. I checked my cloud backups like that would somehow help, still nothing. And then I realized something worse. There were sentences in the notes that I didn't remember typing. Short ones, simple, like reminders. You asked for this, don't pretend you didn't. That's when the twist hit me, and I didn't want to accept it. Because I've been thinking about it wrong. I kept imagining an intruder, a parasite, a separate voice. But what if it's not separate? What if it's the part of me I've been cutting off for years? Not my conscience, not in some clean, moral way. Something more basic. Something that remembers what I did without softening it. Something that's tired of playing the version of the story where I'm still the good person. I sat on my kitchen floor at 2:13 a.m., back against the cabinet, and I whispered into the darkness. Not out loud, but inside. What do you want? And I swear I felt it smile. I want you to stop editing. I blinked hard like that would reset me. Editing what? Then the answer came, patient. Your memory, your story, your face when you look in the mirror. I pressed my palms into my eyes until I saw sparks. I tried to replay the moment from years ago, the moment I let someone else take the fall. But the more I tried, the more it blurred. Not because I forgot, because I never let myself see it clearly. And the voice, my voice, not my voice, kept guiding me. A detail here, a sentence there, a look I avoided, a text I never answered. It wasn't accusing me, not exactly. It was doing something worse. It was making me remember with precision. And with each detail, I felt something tighten. Not in my chest, in my sense of ownership. Like my mind was no longer a private room. Like I'd left a door unlocked years ago and only now noticed it swinging open. The next morning, I tried to drown it out by calling my mother, just to hear her voice, just to ground myself. We talked about nothing, weather, bills, an old neighbor. And in the middle of a sentence, I had a thought that wasn't mine. Tell her what you did. I swallowed so hard it hurt. I said yeah at the wrong time. My mother paused, confused, then kept talking. But the thought stayed. Tell her, tell someone, say it out loud. I hung up, not because my mother deserved it, because I couldn't breathe. In the silence afterward, the voice sounded closer than ever. You think silence protects you. It doesn't. It's where I live. I don't know what to do with that. I've tried therapy before. I've tried meditation. I've tried exercise. I've tried being kinder to myself. But this isn't kindness. This is collection. Like something inside me has been keeping receipts, and now it's laying them out, one by one, in neat little rows. The worst part is this. When it talks, I feel relief, because it makes everything sharp, clear, simple. And then I feel terrified, because I don't know who I am without the edits. Tonight, I'm sitting here again, trying to write this down before it disappears, before I convince myself I never heard anything. And even as I speak these words, I can feel it listening. Not like a monster, not like a stranger, like a patient witness, like something that's been waiting for me to finally look directly at myself. If you've ever had a thought that didn't feel like yours, if you've ever wondered whether you're the one narrating your life or just repeating the story you learned to believe, tell me what you think is happening. Not a diagnosis, not a label, just your honest interpretation. And if you want to stay in this space with me, where the scariest thing is what you recognize in your own mind, you can subscribe to Hollow Thoughts, because I don't think I'm alone in this, and I'm starting to suspect I never was.